Hello. Right, you can see there's a sheet of polyurethane card on the thing. It's just you buy from any DIY modelling place you do make your cards from, things like that. It's about 5mm thick, probably 6mm thick, if that. It's very, very strong. I use it for making model gliders. Oh yeah, you can see it up there. There's a model glider up there, and I use it for making model gliders. So anyhow, today I'm making a rat trap. So these are the dimensions for it. It's 500mm or 50cm by 50cm, roughly. Depends on you what size of material you can get. I just found this bit in the garage and it was about 570 by 500. So anyhow, the sides come out at 160 and they are 350. So 350, 160, and then just copy this template here like that, and that's it. Then that's the whole rat trap basically. And a bit of this stuff, it's rabbit cage, whatever. I'll show you what to do when the rest is assembled. Okay, that's it for now, and I'll show you in a bit what I've done after I've just cut this all out. So basically we'll go through it all in a bit. Right, the only cuts you're going to need, I'll just turn the music down a bit, smooth FM while I'm working. Right, so I'll use this knife just to demonstrate. This isn't the knife you'll be actually using, but basically cut down here, cut down here, cut down here, cut down there, right down to the bottom. Don't cut that. Okay, and this, we see that line, just slightly cut into that line. Remember, this is now removed, so the bottom section is now removed. And again, with this line, just slightly cut into it. Say cut halfway through it. That will initiate a fold. And again with the front, just cut down and halfway cut through it. Don't cut all the way through it. And we'll show you why in a bit. Okay, it doesn't really matter if you do cut the front off, because that will all work together in a while. So that's your cutting information for now. The only bit that's actually going to be kind of singular at this point in time is the bottom. That's going to come off. Okay. Right, mistake one. Well, as we had the original cut out there, we've just chopped everything out, and also I've just scored these. So as you can see, they just literally flop like that. Scored them, but actually the top one is the bottom, middle is side, and the bottom one is the top, and then the bit that was left over the other side is the side. As you can see, the side, I mean, if you've got enough material, that side will fit perfectly on there, but this is a little bit short, but it's not going to affect anything when you see what the finished article is going to be like. So that side's a little bit short, but it's not going to make any difference whatsoever to the finished product. Okay, so we'll carry on now. Front just needs scoring down, but instead of scoring it from the front like these have been scored, just score it on the back side, so the front actually flops down. Okay, in fact, cut it off completely, right, and then just stick it with some Gorilla Tape across. Okay, that's it so far. All the sides are now glued. As you can see, there was just cut and then glued into place. The front flap, obviously that's just like that, so that's what it's going to be like when it's shut. Okay, and then obviously it pops open, so you'll see how that works in a minute. So that's the side, and there's just the back, and then we're just going to glue some of this netting on the back. That's so the rat or beast or whatever can see the food in the back, so hopefully not get it through that hole. Right, this bit is a bit experimental, but basically just put a little slot in the side, around about here, I think, wherever it is, a slot, a little slot, I think about there. Slot in the side there. You can see where I've just marked my pen there. Slot in the side there, so you can push through. Can't remember where I put it now. Oh, there. It's there. Slot in the side, so you can push through this. It's just off an old rubber. So any rubber hose, it's off an old rubber pull down. Used for exercise. We've got the exercise hoops, but you can use any elastic. There's the exercise hoop, it came off. You can use any elastic. So this bit's experimental, and I'll actually tell you the size to cut off when I've done it. But obviously there's different strengths of rubber. But the idea is, so this door pulls shut, and then it's under tension. So you'll see why in a minute. So that's the rubber bands on now. They go through the side, just a few holes in there, just make them even. The lid's just flip back now, just to take that tension up. But obviously when we pull it now, well, hang on, let go of the camera. I'll show you in a minute. There's quite a big tension now on that front, and Mr. Rat's not gonna break out of that in a hurry. Little gap down here on the front, but I'll get rid of that, no problem. In a while, and then that'll send to the firing mechanism now. So we'll take a piece of wire now. There's the wire, and with this wire, I'm going to get a screwdriver. There's a screwdriver, and I'm just going to put a loop round just in one part of the wire. You'll see why in a minute. So it's going to be basically hook on one end, and then a loop, and then a bit of a hook on the other end. Okay, I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so made these two little things out of wire. One's obviously, that's a hook that the bait goes on in there. There's a little loop round there that I've just twisted round, and then there's a straight bit comes out there. So the idea is you put this holds the hook on in there. Either side, there's just two little holes either side of that slot there, so I've made a little slot in the top, and then that obviously goes over that. I'll show you how that goes in a second. Right, so the hook thing is now on there. I've also put a bit of hot glue either side just to stop it pulling up, so you can see it don't pull up no more. I've also put this length of piece of wood on here, which is 350 long, as you can see. It's just edging off, picture frame edging, that kind of thing. But I suppose any piece of wood, it's fairly flexible, but not too flexible. It doesn't really matter. And then that's super glued on, not super glued, but hot glued on for now. And then we're gonna try and attach that little bit of hook thing I put on there. So hopefully, in theory, this should pull down now, stretch down and hook onto there, in theory. So that's now on now. You might have to adjust the hook mechanism to get the right amount of sensitivity to the device. But in theory, we should go in now and play with this as it's going to pull on the food. It's going to pull on the food, and like I said, you might have to adjust the sensitivity. Yeah, make sure it's like just balancing in the edge like that, possibly. I think that's why it didn't fire first time. So again, we're coming in. Imagine this bit of polystyrene is the bit of it's not that work. Oh, and it's still not working. Oh, it worked then. It worked then. So yeah, so it does work. Yep, so now the trap's firing every time now. I've put a little notch in the end of it, as you can see there. And as soon as the rat comes and gets the food inside, then it is just literally firing every time. And I'll show you the actual power of these rubber bungees. So just flick it now. You could hear that. There's absolutely no way that rat's going to get out of there. Well, we'll see anyhow. Let's go to stage 3, testing. Things haven't gone quite to plan. As you can see, the outside now is quite severely strengthened up. I've got aluminium anti-scratch plate on the bottom that I've just an aluminium channel glued on, and I've placed a bit of food inside there. Remember, the other side is clear, so the actual rat can see inside and get greedy. There's a little bit of bread to entice it in. I've had to put some weights on the top of it because obviously it's very lightweight. So, but if I was manufacturing this, I'd make it completely out of stainless steel. The first night I put it out, a fox came along, totally wrecked it. And managed to get everything inside it apart from the actual bait. The second night I put it out, the weather changed, and the actual the way I'd glued the top on there, water had got in, and obviously it weakened the joint. So, and then that triggered the thing. So the rat didn't even get a chance to get in there last night to get the meat. So now this is night 3, and I'll say I've just bolstered up all the outside. The actual stick's a lot stronger. I've doubled that, increased that size. So it's, you know, the original design that I got off the YouTube was wouldn't have actually done anything in this case for the scenario of this rat, because it's obviously far too intelligent and far too big. The rat trap looks about the right size, so we'll catch it from now. There's enough bait inside, and obviously any creatures that come along. But obviously, we've got a lot of foxes in the garden. We've got hedgehogs in the garden. I could even imagine it catching a hedgehog. This trap won't actually harm any of the animals, so that's okay. And well, we'll just see what happens. So hopefully, I'm going to put a bit of stuff on the top of it, just disguise it a little bit, you know, according to the wife. That helps. So there you go. There's a bit of disguise there. We can see, can't we? Well, it's day 4, and the rat's actually managed to get inside the trap with that trigger in it, and he's had the sausage. So now I've put a nice piece of ham in there tonight, and I've left the trap. As you can see, the trap's all triggered. It's a hair trigger, so it's all ready to go. There's extra reinforcing on there, aluminium reinforcing. The only thing is that the CCTV on the house will now pick up the rat trying to get the meat, so so we should actually be able to see what it's up to, because it's a very, very clever rat. It's ridiculous. This rat is absolutely off the scale as far as rats go. Yeah, he's beat the trap 4 times so far. Let's see if we can get him now.